So this video looks at the second treatment for a phobia, which is flooding. You need to be able to describe and evaluate this treatment. So flooding is very simply when you overwhelm an individual's senses with an item or situation that causes the anxiety in the sense that the person realises no harm will occur. So for example, if you are afraid of cars, I'm going to put you in a car, I'm going to lock the doors and I'm going to drive around and around and around until you go past the point of being hysterical, because your body can only be hysterical for so long. So it's working on really the idea that physically you can only be hysterical and afraid for about 11 minutes. After that, you have no choice. Your body naturally starts calming down. And if you can maintain the phobia for that long, by the time your body starts relaxing itself, you will get to the point where you realise that that situation actually wasn't scary, you weren't ever in any sort of harm, and by the end of it, you start realising that that situation is actually okay, and you are relaxed in that situation. So I put you in the car, I drive you around for 11 minutes. As you then start calming down, I continue to drive you around, and when you're a little bit calmer and rational, you realise that there was nothing to be afraid of. There is no relaxation techniques, no step-by-step build-up. It is a really, really intensive way to cope and deal with your phobia because the exposure is intensive and rapid. The individual has their senses flooded with thoughts, images, and the actual experience of the object of their phobia. So flooding itself, as I've just mentioned, stops phobic responses very, very quickly. The results of this are instant because you've realised there's nothing to be afraid of. It's really important here that you understand that the option of avoidance behaviour is taken away. It doesn't matter how much you are screaming in that car that you want to get out and you want it to stop. It's not available to you. You are forced to continue with the situation until you relax and are calm. It's the process of extinguishing a phobia, and the process itself is called extinction. A learned response is extinguished when it is encountered without the unconditioned stimulus. So it's still working on the process of classical conditioning. If you're afraid of dogs, but you see the dog for a prolonged period of time without the conditioned response of fear, then it's extinguished. Ethically, this is a real misconception here. Often students go on rants about how flooding is totally unethical. Flooding is not unethical because patients are often given the option. They get to choose their treatment plans, and if a patient has chosen to go for flooding, they are totally informed about exactly what is involved, what they will go through, and they're told very clearly from the beginning that if they plead to leave and they're in that situation, they will not be allowed to leave, because actually the result of that would be that the phobia could be made 10 times worse by being exposed to it and not getting to the point of relaxation. It's obviously unpleasant, but the patient is properly prepared for this and they've been given the choice, as I said, and they've chosen to take the option of flooding. It is cost effective, so it's really, really quick. It means that they're free from their symptoms and their fear a lot quicker and a lot cheaply than alternative explanations such as systematic desensitization. However, it is less effective for certain types of phobia. So flooding is a lot more difficult when you've got complex phobias like social anxiety, and this is because that social anxiety may have cognitive aspects such as what people are thinking about you and what people may be perceiving you as, and you can't really treat that with a flooding situation because you can't really prove to somebody what somebody's thinking. So they don't experience the same anxiety response, they just think unpleasant thoughts about the social situation. So flooding isn't actually appropriate for all those types of phobias. So think when you're evaluating the usefulness of flooding in certain situations. It is obviously traumatic, so we're not talking it's unethical, but we are highlighting the fact that it's very, very traumatic for patients. They might refuse to start at the beginning, they might not be able to complete the treatment due to anxiety levels, and actually we are at the risk then that flooding can make a phobia worse.